Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man here again at your service. The second video of today, the second review of today as well. You may notice beside me here, I have a fairy friend. It's a big werewolf. That's the American werewolf in London. And I'm sporting, oh hey, who knows that guy? Yes, that's Henry Hull as the Werewolf of London. American Werewolf of London, Werewolf of London. This is a film that predated Lon Chaney Jr. in The Wolfman, 1941, absolute classic, the one that started it all really. This is an unheralded, sort of neglected classic as well. In fact, we have, here is Henry Hull as the Werewolf of London. Magnificent. I'll cover these old classic films at some point. These old Universal creature features. I love them, love them, love them. He's going to fall over. I just know it. But we're not here to discuss those today. We're here to discuss Silver Bullet. Yes, from the 80s. Daniel Attias directed his directorial debut. Although he worked with Steven Spielberg on a few things as well. He'd done second assistant director on Twilight Zone, the movie. He'd also worked, I think, on Poltergeist and E.T. But he was given his big break was to make this movie, and of course it was based on Stephen King's novella Cycle of the Werewolf, which is here. Look at that. That was a rare limited edition version. Illustrations by Bernie Wrightson. Look at this. I'm going to show you something here. Look at this. Bernie Wrightson is the guy that did a lot of EC comics and zombies, ghouls, and really horrendous, you know, grisly zombie type stuff. Look at that. Oh, tearing his face off. Stephen King was approached by a publisher to do a calendar based around a small town of his creation in the ubiquitous Maine, of course. In this case, Tarker's Mills. And the idea was each month there'd be a werewolf slaying. And it was just going to be a calendar. But savvy Stephen King thought, ooh, hang on a second. There's potential here for something bigger than a calendar. So he wrote his first novella, which was this, and magnificent it is too. And Dino De Laurenti, or Dino De Dum Dum, as he was often referred to, and his wife Martha Shoemaker, Mrs. Dino De Dum Dum, had done Cat's Eye and Firestarter, both Stephen King adaptations, and they thought, hey, this would be great for a movie. So, because the story revolves around Marty Koslow, whatever it is, played by Corey Haim in the film, who's he's crippled. He has no feeling in his legs at all, so he's in a wheelchair, and he has a wheelchair which is souped up and turbo powered and nitro glycerin. It's like a fucking Mad Max Interceptor. You know, this is a V8 engine on it, and his favourite uncle, Uncle Red, played by Gary Busey, soups it up, and it's called the Silver Bullet. This thing has got tail flags, it's got rocket boosters, it's got all sorts. He can hurtle down the freeways and the roads. He can pull wheelies. It's a three-wheeled chariot, and so it's Silver Bullet. But of course, Silver Bullet also refers to, you know, the famous way to slay a werewolf. Now, in this film, silver bullets are used to kill the werewolf. But the thing is, and this is, we all know, oh, werewolves, silver bullets. Yeah, but silver bullets was created for the Lon Chaney film, The Wolfman, in 1941. The screenwriter, Kurt Siodmak, created that. That's a Hollywood created myth. No other werewolf legend or saga ever mentions bloody, you know, silver bullets especially, you know. In fact, even the light of the full moon isn't the major thing either. That's barely ever referenced in lycanthropic lore. So that again was a cinematic invention. So anyway, but it is, you know, it's great. It's all part of the whole mythology, and it works. So Stephen King wrote this novella, and it was a rip-roaring success as well. Brilliant story. Told from the point of view of individual towns members who encounter each month this werewolf will slay them. Gradually they're going to come to realise, hang on, this ain't no psychopath, this is not just a wolf, this is something more. And the crippled Marty will realise, because he has an encounter with it, it kills his best friend Brady, who's out flying a kite. It'll kill him, and then because the carnival's been cancelled because of all the slayings, he can't have his 4th of July fireworks. But his uncle will give him fireworks and his own little, firework display. But the big werewolf will come for him, and he will fire a firework into its face and take out one of its eyes. So then he realises that, hang on, someone in town is going to be missing an eye. So let's find out who it is. And it is the Reverend Lester Lowe from the Baptist Church. Of all people, it has to be a fucking clergyman who's going out on a monthly rampage. And in the novella, the Reverend Lester Lowe thinks he's doing God's will, because he doesn't even know how he became a werewolf. He just becomes one at the start, and as each month gets to the lunar cycle, he gets more and more ferocious, more and more furry and hairy and hungry. And at first he dismisses the fact that he's got cuts and bruises and scratches on which don't hurt at all, and there's sometimes blood on his fingernails and blood in his teeth and on his lips. Then he realises, okay, yeah, but he looks at who he's been killing, and he's been killing people that are drunk. A woman who's about to commit suicide, stuff like this. So he's visiting God's will upon sinners. That's how he reconciles it. But also, deep down, he's learning to love the fact that he's some kind of beast as well. And he thinks if God wants him taken out, then God will do it himself. And there's the basis of the story for the film as well. So it is the Reverend Lester Lowe, once again, is the killer, played by the great character actor Everett McGill, who is wonderful. He was in Quest for Fire as a Cro-Magnon sort of ape man anyway, so he's used to wearing big prosthetics on his face. And he was in Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. He was the man in a gimp suit, and it's fabulous subversive film. If you've not seen it, you've got to see The People Under the Stairs. It's such a fucking bizarrity, but he's great in it. But the great Alice Krieg as well as the woman, and but he's also in Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood as this rival US Marine officer. But a great character actor, very intense, very dark, very brooding, and quite genuinely scary. And he's wonderful in this role as the Reverend, because you've got scenes of him having the nightmare, and in the film it's almost like he doesn't, at this stage, he doesn't know he's a werewolf. The film isn't very good at translating the passage of time from month to month to month and the lunar cycle. It doesn't do that very well, and it doesn't really show that the Reverend doesn't appreciate who he is at first and what he is, why it's happened. So it needs to work on that. Obviously you should read the book, it fills in the blanks for you. But basically in the film he has a great dream where after Brady's been killed and a load of other people, a big lynch mob goes out into the woods and the swamps to try and track this thing down. Fabulous sequence, I'll come on to that in a bit. A few of them will be slain by the beast. He will have this terrible nightmare where he's trying to get off a words of comfort to the church, the congregation, and everyone in the church suddenly starts becoming changing into a werewolf, mutating, morphing, and he's horrified by all this. Even the woman playing the organ, and she said to this fucking beast as well. And the coffins, fairy hands come thrusting out the caskets, and he wakes up. God, let it end, let it end. Well, in the book, that's one of the things that makes him realise, oh shit, this is me. But you don't quite get that in the film. Obviously, getting a firework through his face and waking up with no eye, that will prove that he's, yeah, it's me. But hey. The story also revolves around Marty's crippled nature and the relationship he has with his sister. Now, Corey Haim plays the now deceased Corey Haim, who was in Lost Boys as well. He plays Marty, and he's brilliant, brilliant. I have forgotten the name of the girl who plays his sister, but she's brilliant too. Apart from, and it isn't the actress doing it, it's an older woman doing it. She provides a voiceover narration, explaining why she and her brother didn't really get on, and you don't need it. You really don't need it. It's I don't get why they have this narration in there. It opens the film and it ends the film, it bookends it, but it's not good. It's not good at all. In a film which is actually really good. So, Tarker's Mills, 1976, the horror begins. A railroad worker singing to himself, January, oh, something's around the trees around him. He doesn't think too much about it. Next thing, ooh, a swipe. His head comes off, whoa, spins through the air, lands on the deck. And in a great shot, you see nighttime transitions to daylight to dawn, and the head just stays there. And it's a great little effect. And they put it down to a railroad accident. He's an alcoholic, so he's just passed out on the tracks and train's gone over him. No, then more murders begin, and so the cycle of the werewolf ensues throughout the year. But you don't, as I said before, you don't really get that transition from month to month to month. But when Marty's best friend Brady, and they're flying kites, it's in the book as well, stays a little bit longer, and Marty's sister's been sent to come and get, she's older than him, to come and get him again. She's deadly reluctant. They have a very begrudging relationship. She resents the fact that he's crippled because the parents always lean on her to look after him, and she takes second place behind him all the time. And that is a believable scenario. That works. Their relationship is sparky, acerbic. He's trying to have fun, but he always seems to upset her, and then she bears the brunt. She blows a stack and gets shouted at by her mum, especially because the mum is overprotective towards Marty. And as Gary Busey, as the great drunkard Uncle Red, which is the mother's brother, he keeps coming around. He's had numerous wives, he plays cards, he drinks, drives fast cars, he's getting divorced all the time. You know, this guy is a maverick, and she doesn't want him anywhere near Marty, but Marty adores him. And the great thing is that Uncle Red adores Marty, and really, he says to his sister, Marty's mother, so many times, like, you've got to see past the fact that he's a cripple. He's not a cripple. You know, he's got so many things against him already, and he's got nothing against him. Nothing. The guy can be wherever he wants to be. The guy he's sharp, he's witty, he's brilliant. Look, stop. You're the one who's putting him down all the time, and it's clever. It's a clever twist on what you would think the sympathetic angle this film would lie in, because even though he's in the wheelchair, even though, you know, yeah, there's one scene of him where he goes up to like the fence and there's kids playing baseball, and he watches them and he looks at them running around, so he looks at their legs, and it's only a quiet, simple, brief moment, and really the film does not dwell on the fact that he's crippled. It's mentioned all the time, but you look at him, he doesn't have any worries at all. He's dead happy. He's superbly happy, and he's very, very reliable and resourceful. And Uncle Red sees this. Uncle Red trusts him, knows him, and it gives him so much time. And of course, because he's such a rebel, that Marty loves him as well. But so you have this relationship between him and his sister, and once his sister comes to collect him from the park where they're flying kites, and he turns around and he's in his chair, he says to Brady, "You coming?" And Brady goes, No, I'm just going to keep on playing with this for a while. So he goes off, but he looks back at Brady, because you know you ain't coming home in one piece, Brady, sorry. And he seems to know it. Cut to a great sequence where you've got the townsfolk, and this is the typical lynch mob mentality. Hey, and I'm not saying it's wrong in a case like this, if you've got a small community and there's a murder in your midst, and the police, in this case played by the great Terry O'Quinn, the stepfather, Terry O'Quinn, fucking awesome, and he doesn't seem to have any leads at all. So they're turning on the local constabulary as well, and like saying, well, you and your fat deputy can't do fuck all, so it's time to take, private justice. So the copper is like, you can't do this sort of thing. But in the midst of all this, Brady's dad comes into the bar and he says, like, has anyone seen my son Brady? He didn't come home tonight. And it cuts to a shot of, you've got this pavilion, and there's a body in the pavilion, and Terry O'Quinn's walking back holding the bloody kite, and he's just going, Hail Mary, Mother of God, Hail Mary, Mother of God. And he just sits down on the bench in shock. And then of course the deputy brings the father up, and he tries to stop him going near the body, but he does anyway. He goes up, pulls the shroud back from it, and you just see this there's the look on his face. No, and it's, oh my God. It's an absolutely gut-wrenching expression and sheer explosion of rage, anger, upset and loss. God, it's fantastic. And it's funny, there's 2 Stephen King adaptations which both feature a father weeping and screaming over the body of their dead son, the other one being Pet Sematary. And that has an equally great, one of the best ever no screams in cinematic history when the poor little lad's been hit by the truck. No! And it echoes, no! Oh, fucking hell. I'm going to fill up even just thinking about it now. And in Silver Bullet, this dad's reaction is just as valid and just as primal. So, of course, when the lynch mob are going to go out there, they've all got guns. The village loudmouth actually happens to run the local guns and ammo store. Well, wouldn't you know it? And he's arming everybody. He's also a bit of a town bully, always picking fights. But on this particular occasion, they're all siding with him. Teddy O'Quinn, as the sheriff, comes in and says that, look, you can't do this. This is what's called private justice. It's one step away from lynch mobs and hanging ropes. And but the father, Brady's dad, comes in and he goes, you go to Sunshine Cemetery and you dig up what's left of my boy and you tell him what you think of private justice. And of course, Teddy O'Quinn just goes, I can't do that. So everyone goes out there. And Everett McGill, as the father Lester Lowe, who is the beast, tries to stop them all. And it's a weird moment because we don't yet know he's the werewolf. But when you look back on it again, he must at this stage know or suspect quite heavily that he's the werewolf. And he's trying to stop them. Is he trying to stop them because he doesn't want them catching him? Or he's doing his priestly thing? Look, this is not good. An eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth. It's not the way it should be done. Anyway. But he has that dream sequence and it's great because the father of Brady's in this dream, he's in the congregation. And you've had the lynch mob go out there and they've gone into the misty swamps. And it's a ground mist. It's a great sequence. Because you've got the bartender who has a billy club called the Peacemaker, which he uses to, diffuse fights. This is the Peacemaker. Any of you want to fucking fight with this, And the werewolf is actually in the swamps as well. And it does pick them off one by one. Great moment. They're all up to their waist in mist. And this poor old couple, she's going, you're not going to make lemonade in your pants, are you? And he goes, because they realise it's in the mist. It's under the mist. It's with us now. And this guy goes, I can't move. Because he's fucking shitting himself. Anyway, people get picked off left, right and centre. So you have this Peacemaker thing. The bartender starts running off and he gets dragged down by the wolf. And you see out the mist, this billy club comes up. Boom, and it's hitting the wolf. Then you hear, then it gets taken off him, and the next hand that comes up is a big black fairy fist, and starts battering the shit out of him. So you get that dream sequence, and the father of Brady's there, and he's going tell us about private justice, and he becomes a werewolf. Anyway, I've gone off on a big mad tangent there, but the film is tremendously effective. I'm playing its soundtrack behind us right now, which is by Jay Chataway. Jay Chataway did a lot of Chuck Norris action movies, a lot of Cannon, Golden Globus movies during the 80s. And he does a great action score for this because this is a film where you have chase sequences. You have when poor Marty encounters, he has his little private 4th of July show with his own fireworks given by, Uncle Red. It's on this bridge. Uncle Red says to him, stay near the house. Stay near the house. But he hasn't. He's bombed it off on his new souped up Silver Bullet fucking super chariot wheelchair. Out into the woods, this little bridge, letting him off there. But the wolf is there. And it strides down the bridge towards him. And he's like, oh, manages to let this fucking firework off. Gets him right in the eye. But it goes after him. But he manages to turn around and bombs it down the road back home again. Corey Haim. Brilliant. You watch that sequence. Look at his face. He's in a cold sweat. it's not like they said, look, Corey, act afraid. Act like there's a great big werewolf behind you. Act afraid. He has the face of a 10-year-old lad who has seen an 8-foot-tall werewolf coming for him. And he is white as a sheet. There is sweat glistening on him. And he's riding this fucking chariot. Oh my God. And he manages to climb up the chariot with his dead legs behind him, gets back into his bedroom and just crawls up into the corner of his bed like that. And it's just outstanding. It's really effective. So you've had that chase sequence. You then get another chase sequence because he realises, they go around, his sister goes round trying to find someone who's only got one eye, because she begins to believe what her brother's telling her. And she goes around and she's collecting cans for like the charity at the Baptist church. So and Father Lester Lowe is digging, he's in the gardens, digging plants and putting flowers in. Yeah. Hey, he says to her, just take them through to the garage and give me a tally sheet. How are you anyway? Oh, same old. Brother's giving me jip, and the camera. He looks up in the camera, and he's got an eye patch on. He goes, "Oh, brothers sometimes do." It's an eye patch on, so we know it's him now. And then she goes in and she finds this billy club, the Peacemaker, and realizes, because it smells like fucking animals in there as well, in this garage where all the cans and tins are. She finds that, and he comes around and surprises her, and she just stares at him because she knows, shit, whatever you are the killer. And then he then realises, so she goes back and tells Marty. Marty then sends blackmail letters to him. I know who you are, I know what you are, why don't you kill yourself, end it now. So Reverend Lester Lowe also now knows that Marty's the one who sussed him. Well, but Marty knows it's him. And there's a great chase sequence where Marty's in his chariot and the Reverend comes up behind him in his car and pursues him down these country roads, and he manages to bomb it into this sort of dangerous, dilapidated bridge house, comes in there, but the Reverend follows him behind him in a great moment, which makes you realise that there's less of the God's goodwill in this man than even he thinks, because he goes I'm doing God's will, but you're getting in the way of that, you meddling little shit. But luckily a farmer's passing by and Marty manages to call for help, and when they get there the Reverend's done one. So they tell Uncle Red, and he managed to melt down. Marty's got like a medallion out of pure silver, and his sister's got like a little crucifix or whatever, and they melt them down. They go to this oldie wildy gunsmith who melts them down and makes a low grade, so it won't tumble, bullet, just one silver bullet to be fired. And he goes, "Why do you want this again?" And he goes, "Well, it's for my nephew. He's into the Lone Ranger." And he goes, "Oh, because I thought you might be trying to kill a werewolf." And Uncle Red now does begin to believe there's something going on, and that Marty could be in danger. He manages to inveigle his sister and the father, i.e. Marty's mum and dad, out to New York for a holiday that he's supposedly won. He's just paid for it basically to get him out the house. And so he stays in the house. It's the next full moon. He stays in the house with them, and in his lap he's got the gun. And as the night progresses, it's like 3 a.m, and nothing's happened so far. And he's like, "Listen, kids, fucking go to bed, because look, this is nothing's happening here." All of a sudden, Marty's sister sees the werewolf at the window, just his face like that at the window, just it's there. So he jumps, he's like, looks around, goes to the window, looks up, nothing there. He's like, "Look, I know you kids believe it, but there's strange feelings coming over me. That feeling that I'm being made a fucking fool of again. So please, get to bed." And anyway, the power gets cut, and it's a great sequence of Jesus Christ, because you see Gary Busey, who's a great actor, a great actor, often a manic OTT one, and he is in this, but he's brilliant. He's totally inhabits a character, and he's beginning. Look, it's just the power gone out, but you can see he's saying, "Fucking hell, I've got the gun here." And then the house starts shaking, and they're looking one way, thinking it's going to come through there, and the whole fucking wall implodes behind them. And this big fuck-off werewolf comes in, starts throwing Gary Busey, Uncle Red around. the gun goes flying, the bullet goes flying. Marty leaps out of his wheelchair, tries to catch it, goes down the grate. He's trying to get his fingers down there to get it out. Anyway, they do get the bullet out in time, and he manages to blast the werewolf. Flies back. Whoa. He's took out on the other eye, so he's took out both eyes basically, and it slumps down in the corner, and it undergoes a transformation back to a naked Reverend Lester Lowe. How are they going to explain that? How are you going to explain that? You know, oh, yeah, he tried to kill us. Why is the Reverend in your house naked and shot in the head? What have you been doing to this guy? You know, oh, he's a werewolf. Yeah, right, okay. And and he comes back at a final death throw as it all goes quiet and his face is reverted back, all the reverse prosthetics. He then goes and slumps back down again, dead. It's a great final sequence. The film is wonderful. Great atmospheric soundtrack, some good action cues on it from Jay Chataway. But what lets it down quite badly is the werewolf itself. Although it's big, it's the size of a bear, it was constructed by Carlo Rambaldi. Carlo Rambaldi worked with Dino De Laurenti on many films. He worked on a film I love, very close to my heart, is the 1976 version of King Kong. And Rick Baker is the one wearing the suit. Rick Baker designed the mask. The mask is great. The big hand that Carlo Rambaldi designed, all mechanics and hydraulics, and Jessica Lange would be in that hand and it would pick it up and move around. That's great. But when you see Kong as a big fucking live as a great big huge sort of robot for the big crowd sequences towards the end, it's bloody rubbish. It's garbage. Carlo Rambaldi would leapfrog from a great project to a shit project. So shit there. He then does the chest burster for Alien. I think we'll all agree. Brilliant. Brilliant. He does E.T. as well. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, of course. He's the Italian maestro of mechanical effects. But then he does this. And when he first, a bit like the Predator, when he first unveiled the Predator costume, and John McTiernan and everyone just went, oh, we're in trouble now. Dino De Laurenti had a massive big slanging match with Carlo Rambaldi. What the fuck is this? It looks like a teddy bear. Because what he's done, and Carlo Rambaldi actually stated, I did extensive research on wolves, I went to zoos and wildlife parks, I watched them in the wild, I studied how their faces work, and yet he made a bear? It's a bear? So they had to go back to the drawing board at the last moment to remodel this thing, but it's still not good. The actual prosthetics and mechanical effects, the air bladders and the latex, and the transformations are really good. Three of the effects guys worked on all the werewolf effects for the big congregation transformation. And those werewolves are infinitely better than the blood, and it's about 30 of them as well, and they're all better than the bloody thing that called the central werewolf. They're all better than that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. This werewolf's a nasty bastard. You know, it lies in wait for people, it tricks people. It's hiding under the stairs, and you see its red eyes looking up at someone who's walking. Well, it's under the floorboards, sorry. This guy's walking over the floorboards, and it's watching him. And it'll shake the entire place. It taunts and teases people and stalks them. So it'll climb a trellis to get this woman in her bedroom who's about to commit suicide as well, which is again a piece from the original book. But so it's atmospheric, and it's certainly, it's got a bit of gore to it. It's not overly gory, but it's got some nice gore. Corey Haim's performance is just tremendous, tremendous. Gary Busey is excellent. The girl who plays his sister, I've forgotten her real name and I've forgotten the sister's name. Oh, Jesus. But she's great too. And Everett McGill as this brooding, demonic, beast-like, Reverend Lester Lowe. Because there's even a sequence where, I forgot about this, where Teddy O'Quinn, the great Teddy O'Quinn, finally thinks, hang on a minute, there is something, because Gary Busey's gone to the sheriff and said, like, look, my nephew says this about the, right, you really believe he's a werewolf? I don't know what to believe, but I think you should go and check him out. So he goes round there, and he goes into this garage at night, and he finds evidence because the priest looms suddenly out, and he's like, all right, and he gets his gun out. But again, that peacemaker's brought in, and then a really nasty sequence. The priest, Reverend, turns into the werewolf and smacks the poor sheriff's skull apart. Buff, buff, buff. And it's great. God, we've even got a song on the soundtrack. Let's go back to something a bit more spooky. I'm going to wind this up in a second, folks, because the little cutout on my videos, it lasts about 33 minutes, and then it does another file. But I can't be arsed editing them together, so I just kind of let it go to 33, and hey, off I go. But Silver Bullet, I know it's great. It's a cult favourite. It's a great werewolf movie. It's got some bad points to it, but its character play is brilliant. You do care about it. Might seem a bit cliched, but you do genuinely care about his characters. They sell the part. Corey, I cannot express enough how good he is in this movie. And we all love him in Lost Boys as well. But his performance here is just magnificent for what it is. You definitely sympathise with him, although you're not sorry for him. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, we know he's in a wheelchair, but you never once feel, oh God love him, help him out. He's resourceful, he's quick-witted, he's clever, he's brave as well. There's a lot of facets to his character, and it's to his credit he did so well. Poor Corey Haim died of pneumonia when he was only about 31, maybe a bit older, but he was too young to have gone. So anyway, Silver Bullet, great film, great novella, great soundtrack. Not a bad Blu-ray as well, to be honest. Not a bad Blu-ray. So, werewolves, gotta love him. One more look at this guy. Werewolf of London, Henry Hull. American Werewolf in London, yeah. So I'm going to be covering some classic horrors very soon. Anyway, folks, before this cuts off, while I'm in mid-sentence, I'm going to say, stay happy, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, watch out for the full moon, and always keep a silver bullet handy. Anyway, I'm going to see you all